Today we are talking about getting clients. If you're a business owner and you don't have a predictable way to bring in new clients, nothing else matters. Your offer doesn't matter, your team doesn't matter, because without clients there is no business. Well, there are only 4 ways to get clients, and in this video I'm going to explain when to focus on which one, depending on the stage of your business, to grow your company. We helped so far hundreds of companies to build efficient sales systems, and I keep seeing the same pattern over and over. The ones that scaled fast were not those who worked more, but those who selected the right channel at the right time. Let's start with the one that everyone loves, the one that feels the best. You did a great job for a client, they tell a friend. That friend reaches out to you and you close the deal. It's referrals. Now, I get it, referrals feel like magic. There is no selling involved. The trust is already built, someone recommended you, and the deal almost closed itself. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that referrals are bad. They are actually great. But I had a client who built his entire business on referrals alone. And that was the only way to getting clients for himself. And for a while it worked, but when the referrals slowed down, he was closing 1 deal in a quarter. Only 1 deal. His revenue was declining and he was actually working more. More hours, more stress, but fewer results. Because he had no control over when the next client coming in. He was just waiting and hoping. And that's the trap with the referrals, right? You can't wake up on Monday and say that I want to get 12 referrals this week. It doesn't work like that. Referrals are extras. They are reward and it's hard to make it predictable. And the moment you start depending on them as your main source of growth, you have handed over the control of your entire business to another person. Now, why is this a problem? Because you can't scale hope. If I ask you right now to double your revenue in the next 90 days, on referrals alone, you couldn't, right? Nobody actually could. Now, the most obvious next thought is, well, what if I just pay for the attention? That sounds like it should solve everything. You put the money in and leads come. But this is where most people get burned, and I mean it badly. The ads. Now, I'm not anti-ads at all, but here's the thing, ads are amplifier. That's it. They amplify what already worked. Think about it like this. If your offer converts and your messaging is dialed in, ads will add the fuel to that fire and you will scale fast. But if your offer is unclear and your messaging is not working, ads will just help you to lose money faster. That's all what they do. You will pay Meta to confuse more people at a higher volume. Now, I had a client who was running Meta ads for years, burning the budget months over months. The leads were expensive. The quality was inconsistent and ROI was never great, but he kept doing it. He thought that he will run ads and eventually it will start working, but it didn't. Then he switched his strategy to Outbound. Same market and the same offer, but instead of paying Meta to show his message to strangers, he went directly to the right people. His cost per acquisition dropped by 10 times. So ads make sense when you already have revenue coming in. When your content is already converting and there is a proof of concept that is working, right? When you have data that proves people respond to your positioning, then you take that proven message and you put it to paid ad behind it. That's when ads become powerful, but not before that. Now you are probably sitting there thinking, all right, cool, referrals are not scalable, ads are not ready yet, so how do I actually get the clients right now? The good news is you can get them today, especially if you are early stage. This is where it gets really interesting. Imagine a method that gives you something none of others do. It gives you complete control. You choose who you want to talk to and you choose how many conversations you want to start. And you can choose exact type of client you want to work with. And you can start it literally tomorrow morning with zero budget. It's outbound. Cold emails, cold DMs, LinkedIn messages. You don't wait for clients that find you, you go and find them. Now, most people avoid outbound because it feels uncomfortable, right? It feels like you are bothering people. But here's what they're missing. That discomfort is exactly why it works. When you do it right, it feels personal. It feels like you do a favor for them. Now, here's the biggest mistake I see people make when it comes to outbound. They reach out to people with generic messages with no tangible outcome attached. Something like, hey, I would like to connect, or hey, I want to grow your business, etc. That means nothing. Nobody reads that and think, yes, it is the person I need to talk to. Your outbound message needs to speak to a specific problem and with the specific results. For example, hey name, I notice you are running an agency. Typically when you start making over 50K a month, you start hiring setters, but they don't perform. Either because you hired the wrong people or because you cannot enable them. I just created a training that helps you to generate over 100K a month by building your dream team and buy back 40 plus hours a month. That's the difference between getting ignored and getting your calendar fully booked. I've I've won most of the client through Outbound. And the beautiful thing is about this, I can control exactly how many clients I can bring in next month. If I want to slow down, then I do. It's like having a gas pedal on your business. You decide how fast you go. Now, the tactical piece is simple. Build a list of your ideal clients, write a message that speaks directly to their problem with a clear outcome, and show up every single day with that outreach, but not once in a week. That consistency compounds. You can go from 0 booked calls to 5, 10 in a matter of days. Not months, not quarters, but days. But here's the thing about Outbound that most people completely miss. Outbound works. It works really well. But it works 10 times better when people already know who you are before you message leads in their inbox. Think about that for a second. When someone gets a cold email from a total stranger, it feels very cold. But when the same person gets the same email from someone whose content they have already seen, whose face they already recognize, whose ideas they have been consuming, it doesn't feel cold anymore. It feels warm. It feels familiar. I see this every single time. Before someone books a meeting with me, they look at my content, they want to see who is this person. And if what they find confirms that I know what I'm talking about, the meeting is already half won. That completely changed everything about your conversion rate, which brings us to the next method that is the most powerful long-term play that exists. The one that compounds over time, the one that makes all other methods just talk about working better. And the one that's changed business more than anything else. Content system. Now, I'm not talking about posting random tip on Instagram once in a week and hoping someone sees it. I'm talking about building a machine that generates inbound demand every single day. Even when you're not online, even if you're not working, I have had a single post going viral, thousands of comments, hundreds of booked appointments from one post, the only one. That's not luck. That's what happens when you build a content system that speaks directly to the problem of your market that they are dealing with. Now, let me break this down specifically for B2B because this is where it gets really tactical. There are 4 channels that matter right now. Let's talk about the one that surprises everybody, Instagram. Now, I already know that you are thinking Instagram is for B2B. That sounds like it's for lifestyle brands, for influencers. But think about this for a second. Every single one of your prospects is already scrolling Instagram every day. The CEOs, the founders, the decision makers, they are all there. Instead of paying Meta to put an ad in front of them, you can put organic content in front of them. It's completely for free. Same platform and the same audience and no ad spend. The key is you create content that speaks directly to the problem your ideal client are already dealing with. When they see that in their feed, it builds trust before you ever get on a call with them. And that trust is what makes everything else work better. Your outbound response rates go up because they have seen your face. Your referrals come easier because people can point on your profile and say, look, this person knows what they are talking about. Now, Instagram is powerful, but it's just one piece of the puzzle. Now, let me tell you about the channel that works for you years after you hit the publish. It's YouTube. Think about this for a second. Any type of short form content will last some days or weeks, but YouTube video from 3 years can still bring you a new client today because YouTube is a search engine. People go there with a problem, they type in, and if you made a video about that problem, you show up. Now for B2B specifically, YouTube builds authority faster than any platform. When you break down a problem for 15 minutes on YouTube video, by the time they go on a sales call with you, they already trust you. They already believe that you can help. The sales is half done before it even starts. But YouTube takes time to build, which why you need to pair with it something that gives you faster reach. And that's where this next comes in. For B2B, one is non-negotiable. This is LinkedIn. Your buyers are already there. Their network is there. They consume the content there. Deals actually start there. And beautiful thing about LinkedIn is right now is that the organic reach is still insane compared to other platforms. A single post can get you in front of thousands of decision makers without spending $1. And here's the tactical move that makes it really powerful. Combine your LinkedIn content with outbound. When someone sees your post and then they get a message from you, it doesn't feel like cold anymore. It feels familiar and they saw your content before. This is what I mean when I say content makes everything else work better. But here's the one more channel that a lot of business founders overlook, and I think this is a mistake. Twitter. Now, Twitter seems like it's just for tech people and hot takes. But here's the thing, especially among entrepreneurs and founders and people who are building companies, Twitter is where real conversations happen. Daily thoughts and that authenticity is exactly what makes it powerful for building trust. Now, here's why I call this content system and not just the content creation. When you put all four of these channels together, like Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter, they feed each other together. A YouTube video becomes a LinkedIn post, which becomes an Instagram carousel, which becomes a Twitter thread. One idea turns into 4 pieces of content across the platforms. And now you are everywhere. Your ideal client looks, that's not a random posting, that's a system. And that system generates demand, compound over time, and gives you leverage none of those other methods alone ever could. And if you think about it, it's simple. Instead of coming up with new ideas every day, you can take one strong idea and multiply it. But the real power is most people only target those who already are interested. What about the rest? With a system like this, you don't wait for demand. You actually build it. You move people from unaware stage to aware throughout your content. You educate them, you shift their perspective and guide how they think about the problem. Over time, the same idea gets reinforced until it feels obvious. And when that happens, they don't feel like they are being sold. They already understand and they already believe. All right, so let me bring it all together. Referrals are great when they come, but you can't scale them. Ads are powerful, but only after you have proven that works. Outbounds gives you speed and control. And a content system compounds over time and makes every other method work better. And remember, to become 1%, you need to dare to do the work that most procrastinate and start building the system that will amplify your growth over time. If you got value from this, subscribe to my channel not to miss the next videos.